All right, guys. So first hand of the night is King Nine of Hearts. I'm on the button, and I make a pretty, I guess, loose raise with King Nine of Hearts. But I get a nice board of 10, 6, 5, 2 hearts. I only had one call out of the big blind, and he had checked it over to me. And when he checks it on the flop, I'm gonna put a little continuation bet, and he check raises me up to 1,500 after I bet for 6. So pot is 3,000. Of course, I called. The board is a board pairing 6 of diamonds. Now he leads into me for 2,000, and with 10,000, only 10,000 or 15 deep, I don't really like this. Board's paired. What does he check raising me with? Probably a boat. So I end up folding this hand. All right, guys, so the next hand to note, I'm in the small blind, and it's actually the very next hand. And if you look, I do have garbage. I have 4-8 offsuit. Player leads for 3 or bets for 300, gets one call, and I'm getting a pretty good price, so I'm going to call for 200 more, and the big blind ends up calling as well. Blinds are 100, 100. So we're going to get 4 to a flop with 1,200 in the middle, and I end up, what I usually typically do when I'm in the small blind is I always check in the dark. I think that it hides strength in my hand. So, of course, I'm going to check in the dark, and I'm glad I did. When I wouldn't say smash, but I hit the flop pretty good. Flop comes 4, 5, 7, rainbow. I have bottom pair and a gut shot straight draw. I had already checked through, and the initial aggressor, the initial bettor, is going to lead for 300, and this is going to invite the middle position player to call. And, of course, hitting my pair and having a gut shot, I call. So turn is a 10 of clubs. Pot is 2,100. I check, and action checks through. So I don't know about this. If I hit my 6, if it's a club, am I really safe? I know that it's not very likely that they have a flush, but unfortunately I don't have to worry about it. When the river is the 9 of spades, and I'm sitting here with bottom pair, and I guess I could lead. I do have removal of the nuts, but I end up not. I end up just checking, and action's going to check through, and the initial bettor ends up turning over a7, and he ends up winning that pot. All right, so on this hand, I have pocket tens, and I raise it to 600. I was sitting in the cutoff, which means I'm to the right of the dealer button. And pocket tens is definitely a strong hand, but I do not want to take it 3 or 4 ways. Probably want to just have 1 or 2 at the max. So I raise to 600, and I get one caller. It's an older gentleman who just sat down. He said he's from Florida, so he probably plays a little bit. He said that he's done a lot of tournament poker plays, so I'm giving him a fairly wide range simply because he's more experienced. He's not just going to play jacks, do aces, but doesn't matter what he has because I hit top set. I have the notes on this board, and I end up checking it over to him because the strength of my hand is just so. I know there's a flush draw, but I think the strength of my hand is just too strong, and I don't want to lose him. So yeah, I'm gonna check it over him, and he's going to bet, and I'm just going to smooth call. And he bets about 600. I call, and turn is a good one. Turn's going to be the 5 of spades. So sorry if the graphics are wrong. I believe they're correct, though. But anyways, pot is 2,600, and this time I'm going to lead into him just because there's 2 flush draws, and he might be a little bit confused of why I'm exactly leading. I lead for 1,000. Which is about less than a third pot size bet. I lead for 1,000, and he ends up putting in the call. So we're gonna have a fairly big pot here for the first couple levels. Pot's 4,600, and the river is the best card possible. It's the 3 giving me top boat, so I'm gonna lead for another 1,000. I probably should be going bigger, but I really just wanted him to call, and it's crazy. Like these chips. They're worth so much more than cash in the sense that like your tournament life. So yeah, I'm gonna bet for 1,000. He's gonna snap call, and I'm gonna win that hand. All right, guys. So we are blinding down, which means, or we're blinding out, which means we're not making much money at all. So I have king queen offsuit, and I'm gonna do about what anyone can do whenever they're blinding down. I'm going to jam all in, and I get snap called, but thankfully for me, I end up doubling up. So I forget the exact run out that happened. I do remember, though, that when I jammed King Queen, I did end up winning that hand, and we will be going to our first break. Holy cow. So we are sitting at about 19,000, which is very, very low. Not good, but I've won some big all-ins. Won about 3 all-ins when I was very low. Sitting at about probably about 10 bigs, 11 bigs. So yeah, just gotta find a spot, shove. Figured I'd give you an update though. But won some flips, won a lot of flips, won some where I'm behind. So honestly, not running too bad. So need to find a charger though, because my earbuds are dead, sadly, and I don't have a charger. All right, guys, so here's just a series of hands that I picked up. So in hand 6, I picked up aces, and they held. Jam kings pre-flop and won, and then I had to jam ace-king suited and win a flip. But yeah, these hands is just kind of showing that whenever you get like in the 10 to 14 blind range, you've got to be willing to shove these kind of hands. This was a turbo tournament, so I had to shove fairly... not loose. I would say this is obviously very, very tight, but I didn't want to overplay my hands. Like, I didn't want to raise, get 3-bet, and then get called and then not know where I was. I'd rather just get all the money in and take down the blinds, because blinds are so important in this kind of tournament. Obviously, cash, I'd play it way different because the blinds don't raise. And even in a more deep stack tournament, I would play it different. But in this situation, with the blinds being fairly important, I felt like it was best just to jam them and get it all in. So I ran pretty hot. Won most of my flips or most of my all-ins. I want to say up until my last couple hands, I had won 4 or 5 all-ins. But yeah, now to the next actual hand. So in this hand, I'm in the big blind with Jack 8 suited of spades. And player's going to end up raising, making a raise, making a bet. And by the time it got to me, I forget the exact numbers. I think we were at like 4 and 8, or it was like 4, 8, 8 or something like that. It ended up being a min click. And getting one caller, I'm usually going to call just because I'm getting priced in. And also, Jack 8 suited is not the worst hand to defend your big blind with. And plus, you've got to kind of be a little bit... I would say you got to defend your blinds. You just don't want to be easy money. But the flop came really good. Ace, 8, 6, 2 spades. So actually, I was wrong. The blinds are fairly deep. So we were probably at the 2 and 4,000 range. So yeah, that's about right. Anyways, pot's 1,800, which means I'm the big blind. So I already had 8,000 invested. But yeah, hitting middle pair with a backdoor flush draw. I'm doing pretty good against most hands, and he ends up just lead jamming. Player folds, and I end up calling because I feel like I have pretty good equity. He ended up having kings, ended up winning. At that point in time, he did not have the king of spades, and I felt like it was a flip. I feel like maybe he had aces and kings, but I felt like I was fairly good, and looking back at it, this was a great call because specifically against his hand, it is literally a flip. Aces, I'm drawing thin, and at that point, I was like, does he have aces? Does he have a set? Maybe he just, like, checks, but he lead jammed. He lead jammed on this one. But I definitely like my call here in this moment. Just unfortunate to lose, but all about winning flips, so. All right, made it to break 2, and I've got, like, no chips. I've been making some very, very tight folds and probably some all-in calls that... There's some calls where I should call all in, but I don't. It's insane. Tournament poker is insane. Making it to break 2, we're like 11 spots from the money. And I just got done with the big blind. I've got like literally 2 big blinds left. It's insane. I hate it. I have to go probably the next orbit. So I am hoping that some people just go crazy and we can make the money. It'd be so sweet. But playing really good so far. Gonna keep doing that. All right, guys. So right after the break, I ended up picking pocket aces. Blinds are huge, so don't let this stack think that I have a bunch. The blinds are literally like 12-6 or 12-12-6, so this is not a lot. But I remember this hand specifically. I didn't show run up because it wasn't really eventful. I had picked up pocket aces. I lead jam and action folded all the way to the cutoff. Or actually, it was the dealer button. It was on the button. So he was thinking for a long, long time. He was short stacked as well. And I'm like, what is he thinking with? It ended up being nines, and I got a really, really important double up. But unfortunately, even though it was a double up, I got to the very end. I got to 33 players left, and the money is made at 32. I ended up busting out. So it was unfortunate. Just figured I'd throw this up there to show you. But unfortunately, I got blinded out, and you got to definitely win hands early on and build up a huge stack. You can't be like late in the game trying to. More thoughts in the cutoff. All right, guys, what is up? Doing a little outro from the couch. Been a while since I did all those hands. Been about 3 weeks. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I called the outro a cutoff. I meant to say it was outro. But anyways, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I went up with my buddy Shelby and really enjoyed it. And I think that tournament poker is a lot of fun. It's just a grind, though. I was there for 3 hours, and I don't know. It's like, is it luck? Is it playing a tight range? Is it just playing very loose early on? I don't know. I still haven't mastered it, but I got very close. That was my first time actually doing the WSOP nightly. Probably like my fourth actual nightly, but it was a lot of fun, and plan on learning a lot. But here in the meantime, I'm excited. I get to go down to New Orleans for my cruise for spring break. Going to do a lot of research and check out some of the, see if there's any nice places to play some cards down there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Please drop a like, subscribe, comment, and hopefully I see you in the next video. If you like it, please subscribe if you did. Anyways, peace. Goodbye.